This is Retirement Keys with Anthony Kangemi from Crescent City Retirement Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Anthony provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is Retirement Keys with your host, Anthony Kangemi.
All right, hello. My name's Anthony Kangemi with Crescent City Retirement Group, and our show, Retirement Keys, has been airing now, I want to say, 7 or 8 years.
Oh, yeah.
On WRNO, and we are so happy to be coming to you every Sunday morning to talk about retirement planning. I've had the same co-host that's been incredible, and we honestly couldn't do the show without him. Tony Shore is with us again this morning. Tony, thank you so much for being here today and for all these years that we've been on this with this show.
Well, definitely. And thanks for pointing that out, Anthony. And, you know, I think it's been close to 9 years, actually, that we've been doing this. Time flies when you're having fun, though, right?
Absolutely. And it really is enjoyable. And, you know, Tony, when in terms of retirement planning, as you know, we really are a fundamentalist, if you will. And we really, feel that these 5 principles, these 5 keys are really time tested. I mean, if you have these 5 keys in place in your retirement plan, you've really got your bases covered. And that's what I'd like to talk about today is what are those 5 keys and how does that relate to the times that we're in and the market and inflation and volatility and all those things that are on people's minds.
Well, yeah, the markets have been going crazy. That's what everybody's talking about, right? So we're in a bear market, and we can talk about how, people, your clients, before 2022, this crazy down market we've had this year, if they had a plan through you, like your clients, they don't need to worry because they have the 5 keys to a happy retirement. They have a plan in place. So that's huge, obviously. It helps them sleep well at night, even when there's market volatility or a downturn in the market. But a lot of folks out there maybe have all their retirement money in a 401k or an IRA, and it's all tied to the market. So I think we need to address this because a lot of our listeners might be wondering, well, what do I do now? What do I need? So what are one of the first keys to retirement that they need to keep in mind or retirement planning?
Yeah, Tony. So, as you know, that the 5 areas, keys, principles that we just feel are critical and time tested would be estate and legacy planning, a healthcare strategy, an investment strategy, income planning, and tax efficiency. And so that's really the 5 areas, and they all bleed into each other. They really work hand in hand. So as it relates to retirement planning, Tony, I would say the investment strategy, income planning, and taxes are really the foundational piece. And then, of course, healthcare planning is critical, and estate and legacy planning is very important. But to answer your question as it relates to, people in the market in 401ks and what to do now, really, it comes down to this investment strategy, income planning, and tax efficiency. Those 3 keys as it relates to your retirement, income, and how you're going to maneuver through these volatile times in the market. And what I would say, Tony, and not to overuse the word, plan, but really it's just that. I mean, if you have a plan where where income is coming from in retirement, and how everything pairs together, whether it be Social Security, whether it be a pension or a defined benefit plan or annuities or bond ladders. In other words, structuring your income plan, Tony, is really a foundational piece, right? Structuring your income plan where you're in this distribution strategy and you're not taking money out of the wrong account at the wrong time. So it's very important, Tony, to have that plan in place and have the portfolios and have the investments laddered and structured in a way to where the short-term distribution obviously needs to be invested differently than maybe an account that you won't call on for income for 5 or 10 years down the road. And so even though we understand that, I would say very well when we're working, we talk about time horizon. I mean, who hasn't heard that term? What's the
Right.
time horizon? But I feel like in a retirement income plan, time horizon, of course, is every bit as important as it always was. It's just you have to think about it differently because it's not based on your accumulation of the time horizon. It's based on the distribution and what the time horizon is with the accounts that we're going to be using for income. And so, Tony, a distribution, as you well know, I mean, being on a co-host for, retirement planners
Sure.
all over the country, you know that retirement distribution planning and how all that pairs with Social Security and pensions and annuities and bond ladders and all of this structuring of income is so important. And I would just say, probably, at least most people that are working and saving and working and saving and working and saving, which in that accumulation phase, that's exactly what they should be doing, has to start recognizing that when they retire in the next 3, 5 years, even 10 years, how should those assets be positioned to structure that distribution strategy, that income plan, Tony, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And that's what people are dealing with all over the country. And you're right. I've heard from so many people across the U.S. Because of the bear market. We're in a market downturn. This year's not been good for the markets, and people still want to plan for retirement. So they're looking at, what is my time horizon? When do I want to retire? When can I retire? What's my number? And utilizing your keys to a successful retirement, that's how we figure this out. And that's the plan they need to have in place so they don't have to worry about this market. And look at when they're going to need the money. That is a key point. I'm glad you brought that up. When do you need it? That's a big part of what you do with it right now when the market is down. And I know you've talked about this and other financial experts. Now might be the time for a Roth conversion, to convert your money that you have in a Roth account or a non-Roth account like your traditional 401k and IRA into a Roth to avoid taxes later down the line. So taxes come into this, and that's one of the keys to a successful retirement, is minimizing that tax burden, isn't it?
Absolutely, Tony. That's what I say. I mean, it really, the income planning, the investment strategy, your tax planning, all of that really works in harmony with each other. And if you've got these pieces isolated and, if you will, the right hand's doesn't know what the left hand's doing, they could, then there can be a disconnect. But it really can be a very harmonious relationship between your investments, your structured income, and your tax strategy. And it should be, because if they're all in harmony, they're enhancing each other. And that's why holistic, if you will, planning, where you're looking at a person's estate and legacy plan, their healthcare strategy, their income plan, their investment strategy that supports their income plan, and their tax strategy that supports it all, is so critical, Tony. And I would say that it's really, if a planner a retirement planner doesn't have all of the pieces that he would need, let's say, to look at a full plan and help design that plan, they're really at a disadvantage. And so I would just say to our listeners, even if you're working with, an advisory firm that's handling your investments, and a tax firm that's handling your taxes, and a lawyer that's handling your legal documents, and an insurance agent who's handling your insurance and risk management. If they're all separate and they're all, doing their own thing, and nobody has a full, picture of it all and how it all works together, then really all of these professionals are at a disadvantage. They really are. And so I don't know how they could really offer really good advice if they don't see all of those pieces under one view. And so in retirement planning and being holistic, if you will, the estate and legacy piece bleeds into the healthcare piece, bleeds into the income plan, the investment strategy, and the tax strategy. They all support each other. And so what I would offer and hope our listeners would take advantage of is a second opinion. We have a very well designed and organized retirement planning structure, as you could imagine. Of course, all plans are different based on the client and the, time horizon and income need and family dynamics and, all of the customization that goes into every family being, an individual, if you will. But the principles are the same. So what I would encourage our listeners to do, if you don't have that full holistic plan that you can go to, that you have on your kitchen table, that you can refer to, let us provide that. If you do have a plan, your own personal retirement income plan, your own personal retirement plan, and you're looking for a second opinion, by all means, allow us to offer you that. It's complimentary. There, no charge for that for our radio listeners that call in and say, hey, I heard from Anthony and Tony on the radio, and I'd like to schedule a time where I can get together either in the office or on a Zoom meeting. And so we can put that plan together for you. We want to do it. It's a fabulous second opinion. It will definitely open your eyes. And Tony, in our next segment, I'd like to talk specifically about what's in that plan. But anyway, I would say that if you don't have a formal plan, or if you do and you'd like to get something to compare, you should take advantage of this special offer.
You've been listening to our shows and advice on getting your finances in order and creating a retirement income plan that will last. Now is the time to take advantage of our special offer. This is Anthony Kangemi of Crescent City Retirement Group, and we're now offering a complimentary gourmet dinner and retirement planning workshop, the 5 Keys to a Stress-Free Retirement. This is one workshop you won't want to miss. Call in the next 20 minutes for this no-cost offer. Seating is limited. Call Crescent City Retirement Group within the next 20 minutes at 504-828-2171. That number again is 504-828-2171.
And welcome back to Retirement Keys with our host, Anthony Kangemi. I'm the co-host, Tony Shore. And Anthony, it's been a great discussion today. We're talking about we're in a downturn. We're in a bear market. 2022 has been rough as far as markets, but we've been talking about some of the things that you need to do to make sure your retirement plans and your finances don't get derailed. And really the key in our first segment was having a plan. Now, you wanted to talk in this segment about that plan and what is inside the plan. Where do you want to start with that?
Well, Tony, I'd like to just mention the items that our listeners can expect to receive from us if they would like to see a retirement plan from Crescent City Retirement. So I'd like to point these things out. But before I do, I'd like to just say, as it relates to the market, yes, of course, we're in a down market. And, a lot of folks, depending on how they were invested, are down a pretty good bit in their retirement. And so it really just speaks again to how are we going to maneuver through these volatile times. And I would just say, Tony, that volatile times shouldn't be, shouldn't derail our retirement, right? I mean, if somebody's going to retire at 65 and we're going to build a plan that goes out 30 years, we would have to expect that through that time, there will be some ups and downs in the market. And so the pullback or the downturns in the market, if you've got an investment strategy that understands that, it could end up being a buying opportunity for a lot of people. But to get to the plan and what's in there, we've got the financial overview, which is, of course, just a full net worth on all aspects of a person's retirement, whether it be their investments, their income sources, their contributions, their estate planning, their kids, their grandkids, their Social Security strategy, all encompassed in one report called the Financial Overview. That's a real hallmark report for our plan. The Rule of 100 or the Color of Money report, the Red Money, Green Money. For our listeners that have read my book, Retiring Well, we talk a lot about safe money and risk money, or red money and green money. But having that green money, and especially that green money being a big part of where the income is coming from in a retirement plan, is so important as it relates to this volatility. You asked, how do people get through volatility? Well, if they have enough on the safe side or the green side that generates the income, then the volatility doesn't have to derail a retirement plan. Portfolio analysis, risk score, how is the portfolio built? How much risk or volatility is inside of the portfolios, and what portfolios are called to do what and in what time frame. So portfolio analysis, Social Security maximization. That's a big report for us. That's a number crunch and actuarial report that really ties their Social Security strategy into the overall retirement plan, which is the retirement compass.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you have a plan and then stick to it. Don't let your emotions get you off track. Work with a financial services professional. So there's a lot of aspects to this plan and a lot of working and moving parts inside the plan. And that's probably why people shouldn't try to go it alone with this, right?
I don't think so. I will say that I have clients and I've met people through the years that are very in tune to distribution strategies and tax strategies and RMDs and how everything pairs together. So there are folks out there that are let's say, very studious in this regard. But I would say even for those folks, and I'm just speaking from experience, even with those folks working together and going through the planning process, it seems there's always things that come up through the process where even the most educated in a retirement planning might point out, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Or, this Medicare IRMA, this income-related Medicare adjustment, if we did that Roth conversion, we may be maximizing on this marginal tax bracket, but then it creates another problem with Medicare. So I guess what I'm saying is there are little landmines along the way, and having a partner in working through your retirement and then with you in retirement, I would say is a real key component to that retirement plan, is working with a firm that really is dedicated to retirement planning. And of course, at Crescent City Retirement Group, we're one of those firms. And I know there's other firms out here in our area that also specialize in retirement planning. And I would just encourage our listeners, just work with a specialized firm and get some opinions and look at their plan and compare plans. And I would say that any firm that would like you to be a client of theirs should be able to show you the retirement planning that they do, give you a sample of that plan so you can see exactly what type of planning they do, how the money is managed, what portfolios they utilize, how it's structured. Just do some due diligence, of course, like you would anything else. And we just like to offer that as well. And so if you're listening and you'd like to get that second opinion or see the plan that we would put together here at Crescent City Retirement Group, please take advantage of our offer.
You've been listening to our shows and advice on getting your finances in order and creating a retirement income plan that will last. Now is the time to take advantage of our special offer. This is Anthony Kangemi with Crescent City Retirement Group, and we're now offering our 3-step retirement planning process at no cost and a $100 gift card to the restaurant of your choice upon completion of the planning process. Call Crescent City Retirement Group within the next 20 minutes at 504-828-2171. That number again is 504-828-2171.
And welcome back to Retirement Keys. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore. I'm here with Anthony Kangemi, and we're talking about the pieces of the puzzle of the plan you need to get the big picture and the overall plan. So you've been breaking down the plan for us, Anthony. What else is in there we need to know about?
Well, we talked a bit about income planning and investment strategy and tax efficiency and how important those 3 pieces are. But let me just say, Tony, healthcare and legacy and estate planning are certainly 2 aspects of a retirement plan. You know, people will say, well, what if I get sick? Where's the money going to come from? What does it cost to have sitters, nurses, aides, therapists to come to the house, or an assisted living, or in a nursing home? And so, the primary objective there, Tony, is to protect assets and remain independent. And people want to remain independent. Most people want to stay in their own homes. And I will say, Tony, with a healthcare plan, with a long-term care planning, certainly there's Medicare and different options there, Medicare Advantage or traditional AB Medicare. But then, of course, there's the whole long-term care thing, Tony, where people want to recover at home. They want to maybe go to a assisted living, which are beautiful communities today. They've really come a long way. So how do you protect those assets and remain independent? And again, that's part of your healthcare planning, Tony, and that's just part of a retirement plan. And so I would just say that in that retirement plan that we spoke about in the last segment, your healthcare planning and those options there and how you would do the leveraging to really have a plan in the event somebody got sick and needed care. When we poll people and ask them, what's one of your biggest concerns in retirement? Inevitably, it's running out of money. And what if I get sick, and who's going to take care of me, and what is that going to cost? And so we know what the culprits are out there. Why not have a plan in place to support those areas that ultimately may very well need to be dealt with at some point? And so I would just say, Tony, that healthcare planning is a biggie. And then, of course, estate and legacy planning, how things are going to pass on. Your will, your living will, your power of attorney, your beneficiary designations. Those beneficiary designations and your will, that all has to be paired, together. Again, under your estate and legacy planning, we want to make sure that those beneficiaries are set up properly. If you've got kids and grandkids, those forms have to be done correctly, or you run the risk of disinheriting, grandkids that you didn't want that to happen, but yet it wasn't properly done on the beneficiary forms. And that's true with life insurance, annuities, retirement accounts. So I would just say under estate and legacy planning and healthcare, Tony, those are probably 2 areas that are kind of forgotten in a sense
Sure.
in a lot of people's, world.
Right.
And of course, we want to make sure those areas are addressed as well, Tony. So,
Yep.
when you have a holistic plan and you have all those pieces in place, we talk a lot about a stress-free retirement. We're not just saying that. I mean, if you've got your ducks in a row and you have covered those bases, you really can enjoy your retirement knowing that that you've got a solid plan that is going to take you to all the way through retirement.
Yeah, and that's key. And those are the retirement keys. I'm glad we covered those today, but we're out of time. Really quick before we go, let our listeners know that phone number that they can call to set up that complimentary, no cost, no obligation consultation.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. The number here at our local office is 504-828-2171. That's 504-828-2171. Please call. Let them know, one of the ladies know that you heard Tony and I on the radio. You'd like to set up a meeting for that complimentary retirement plan, and we're going to be so happy to put that together for you. You'll be the better for it. And we really appreciate you tuning in. We hope this has been a value to you this morning.
All right, we'll roll right into the outro from there. Thank you for listening to Retirement Keys. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound income plan. For more information, please contact Anthony Kangemi at Crescent City Retirement Group. Call 504-828-2171 or visit the website at crescentcityretirement.com. All matters discussed during this show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Anthony Kangemi and Crescent City Retirement Group are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.